everyone, the December Review here, trying a little something different today on the channel. I am a comic book collector, and I've been going through some of the older issues recently, and I've been seeing some ads that I haven't seen in years, and it brought me back in time. So, I thought I would put together some footage to share here. I chose 5 random comic books from various publishers that were put out in the 80s. We have a few from Marvel, DC, and one from Star Comics. This was totally random without any knowledge of the ads inside. This is something I think I will probably do more of in the future, as I have no shortage of material to pull from. With all of this WandaVision fever sweeping the world the past few weeks, I picked up this book recently. It's a nice one.
I'm a Sokovian fortune teller.
Wow, that is so
Rad!
lame.
I decided to put the brakes on my WandaVision weekly video since there's so much to view and read on the topic, but I will circle back with my overall thoughts once the show is complete. That said, let's jump into some comics from the 80s. Cue the generic non-copyright YouTube provided soundtrack. First up is Solo Avengers starring Hawkeye and the Scarlet Witch, issue number 5. This one came out back in 1988. First off, we got here the 3-2-1 Contact. I remember watching that show vividly back in the day. Pretty cool superhero pins. A few different duplicates of Wolverine there. And then, of course, the prizes or cash. This is where you would head out to sell random items, and each item that you sold, after a while, you could then get reimbursed on these special prizes. They were pretty cool. I did the program way back in the day. Probably picked up a few of these things along the way as well. It was always fun to look at to see what you could, potentially get down the road. And here we have some of Konami brand games for the Nintendo. Yeah, those are pretty good. Pretty much played all of them. Double Dribble, that's a classic. Castlevania, of course, one of the best. Russian Attack right there on the bottom left. That was a fantastic game as well. Very underrated game. We got the Forgotten Realms role-playing game. Never jumped into that, but this ad was always around. Now we have The Outsiders, issue 28 from 1988. There are actually no ads in this. Yeah, I just grabbed these randomly and had no clue that in this particular issue there were no outside ads. There are a few things here for future DC titles, but overall there were no outside revenue streaming ads to be found in this comic, so that works perfectly for a video about random ads in comics. So here are a few of the DC related ads that were in there. Planet Terry, issue number 2 from Star Comics. This one came out back in 1985. Planet Terry was one of my favorite comic book titles back in the day. There's a lot more humor going on in that particular series, which I always appreciated. And we get some random Reese's, PCs, alien stuff. That was always their go-to. Bonkers fruit candy. Yeah, this was a big one. I saw this ad in a different comic book recently, and that's what got me kind of thinking about doing this video in the first place. Hadn't seen anything bonkers related in quite some time. Some Franco-American SpaghettiOs. Oh, there's a little thing there. You can do the code and figure out what the answer is to the question. Of course, Cabbage Patch Kids. Had a Cabbage Patch Kid growing up. Pretty sure everybody did way back then. And here are some special subscription prices for Marvel. Look at that, they're giving us 1984 prices. Button 1985, that's a steal. Those full-length subscriptions are actually the price of just one comic book now. G.I. Joe number 75, also 1988. This is a great one. Jolly Rancher Candies here, and that is the gentleman who did a whole bunch of stuff for Mad Magazine. Unmistakable ad right there. It's great stuff. And another prizes or cash ad. Once again, these were extremely familiar if you bought any comic book or magazine back in the day. And another role-playing game. Again, one I never partook in. Didn't do many of these. But the ads were certainly... Hey, that guy looks like he's seen better days there. The ads were certainly all over the place, that's for sure. And, of course, the obligatory Metal Gear. Yep, another ad that was prevalent for the very popular video game. Captain America issue 292. This one came out back in 1984. And right off the bat, we got a little Joust from Atari. Played that game many, many times. Pretty cool ad to see all these years later. This one's pretty cool. It's Marvel Comics here, seeing what you got. If you want to order up this set here and then try out to become part of the Marvel team, creating, writing, and sketching your own comic books. Pretty cool. And here's an ad for Mile High Comics. Just some random comic books that they're selling. These are always great. I used to just stare at these pages and make lists and write down and see if I could order something, what would I order. You know, I probably did it a few times, but it was just a lot of fun just kind of going through everything and seeing what they had to offer. And an ad for Secret Wars. It's pretty cool to see this for comic book fans because Secret Wars ended up being a pretty big deal in the comic universe, so it's nice to see the ad for that before it actually happened. And here we have Medusa getting ready to sell you the holiday gift coupon for subscriptions. And of course, some Masters of the Universe game here. It's pretty sharp. And lastly, it looks like we have some Q*bert and all of the different ways that you can play Q*bert. It's not just in the arcades anymore. You can take it all home. Popeye and Frogger, Super Cobra. And there we have some random ads from random comic books from the 80s. Apparently mostly 1988. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more. I'll definitely be doing more of these types of videos in the future. I'll pick some different decades and some different years, and we'll try to spice it up a little bit, and we'll see where it goes. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy. Catch you next time.